Hello children, hope all are doing well at home by following the safety rules against COVID-19. Are you all taking a nutritious food so that you will have enough energy and immune power to fight against this disease? Is it not? Let us pray God to come out of this situation soon. Why do we take food? Why should we take nutritious food? Okay, we need energy, is it not? Anyhow, we are taking food and the food gets digested. In the chapter 2, we discussed about human digestive system. In that how the food is digested, about the digestive system. We all saw, is it not? From that food, how the body acquires its energy. And in our day-to-day life, we are getting heat energy by burning the fuels. Is it not? Even though we are using the gas and all, that heat energy we get from that LPG gas, liquefied petroleum gas, is it not? If you burn that firewood, then from that we get the heat energy. In the same way, automobiles, vehicles, how they get the energy? They get the energy to run the engine from the fuels, is it not? In the same way, in our body also, various metabolic activities are going on. So these metabolic activities, they need energy. What are the various metabolic, the human beings or any other organisms made up of millions and millions of cells. Each and every cell need energy to carry out their functions. So in our body itself, so many systems are there. Digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, like that, is it not? So, we need a lot of energy. And this energy we obtain from the food we eat. And how this energy is absorbed from the digested food. For breaking down the food in that second chapter, we saw what is digestion, conversion of complex food into simpler food. So this complex food is converted into simpler food. For that, oxygen is very essential. In the presence of oxygen only, various metabolic activities are going on. How do we get this oxygen? The food what we eat should be oxidized to give out energy. So oxidized means what? Using oxygen, the food will be converted into simpler food. So this oxidation takes place, oxidation means what? Using oxygen. This takes place in the presence of oxygen. And this oxygen we get from respiration. Okay. Through respiration only we get that oxygen to give energy. So about that only we are going to see in this class. Today we are going to start a new lesson, chapter 10, Respiration in Organisms. Understand? So respiration means nothing but taking in oxygen and using it to release energy inside the cells. Taking in oxygen from the surroundings and using it to release energy. And removing the waste products. That is called respiration. That is what we are going to see in detail in this chapter. Now in this pandemic situation, I don't know whether your parents are allowing you to go out and play. It is not safe also. But anyhow, you should be very active. That means you have to take nutritious food as well as you have to do various activities to keep you active. Like playing indoor games, doing skipping or doing some exercise, then moving up and down in the stairs and doing some helping your mom in her work, like that. Various activities you have to do, and for that you need energy, and while doing so, what you will feel? You will breathe fast. Is it not? After playing, for example, after doing exercise or after dancing for a music or after doing skipping and all, you will breathe fast. You may know the difference between the breathing speed before doing an activity and after doing an activity. You could feel the difference easily. You will breathe fast. Is it not? So, why such things happen? Why you breathe fast? Because the energy is released. We need energy for doing activity, and the energy is released while doing heavy work or hard work. We need more oxygen to release more energy. So to have more oxygen, to get more oxygen, we breathe faster. Understand? And this respiration takes place in 2 steps. Respiration takes place in 2 steps. That is, one is breathing and the other is cellular respiration. One is breathing and the second one is cellular respiration. What is the breathing? In this 2 stages or 2 processes there, that is, one is inhalation and the other is exhalation. One is inhalation and the other is exhalation. Inhalation means what? Taking in the fresh air. We need oxygen, and all of you know that atmosphere contains mixture of gases, and in that atmosphere the main thing what we need is oxygen to live. Is it not? So we inhale the air, that means taking in the air. While doing so, the air that enters, it contains 21% oxygen and 0.03% carbon dioxide. What we inhale, that inhaled air that has 21% oxygen and 0.3% carbon dioxide. Okay, this is the inhaled air. So from this oxygen percentage is more. Oxygen percentage is more in the air what we breathing. So this process of taking in air is called inhalation. Now this breathing is a physical process. The breathing is a physical process. That means just taking in and giving out. What we breathe out? Carbon dioxide. Is it not? And what after taking in the air, we will breathe out. So this inhalation that takes place for 2 seconds. This inhalation that takes place for 2 seconds. you have to take in air through your nose. While breathing in, it will take 2 seconds for taking in air. In that, the air will get inside. So, the inhale, breathing in is called inhalation. Next one, exhalation. After inhaling air, we will exhale. We will give out the waste product which we don't want. What we exhale? Carbon dioxide. So, that gas what we give out is called carbon dioxide. That is called exhalation, and it takes 3 seconds to give out the used air, that is carbon dioxide. What we give out, the air contains mainly carbon dioxide that we are mixing. So exhalation means breathing out. So taking in and giving out the air, that is called breathing. It is the physical process. And what we are taking in, that air, from that air oxygen will be taken and it will be used by our cells to carry out various metabolic activities, and the waste products will be given out. Everything, all these will take place inside our cells. That is called cellular respiration. The process of taking in the air, taking in oxygen, using it for carry out various metabolic activities and giving out the waste products is called respiration. Understand? So, this takes place inside the cells. This respiration takes place, that is what is called as cellular respiration. It takes place inside the cells. It takes place inside the cells. Understand? So respiration consists of 2 steps, breathing one, and the second one is cellular respiration. Breathing is nothing but the physical process through which we inhale and exhale. That means inhale means taking in air. It takes place for 2 seconds. What we take in? Oxygen. What we breathe in? That air from the surroundings. It contains 21% oxygen and 0.3% carbon dioxide. And what we breathe in? After 2 seconds, we will breathe out. That is called exhalation. And this exhalation takes place for 3 seconds. And what we exhale is the carbon dioxide. And this exhaled air contains 16% oxygen, 16% oxygen and 4.4% carbon dioxide. After taking in, we are breathing out, is it not? So, in that exhaled air, the percentage of oxygen is 16. In the inhaled air, the percentage is 21. And in the exhaled air, the carbon dioxide percentage is more, that is 4.4. And in the inhaled air, the carbon dioxide percentage is 0.03%. So, can you see the difference of inhaled and exhaled air? This is from the exhaled air, the percentage. Okay, so these are the percentages of oxygen and carbon dioxide in exhaled air and inhaled air. In inhaled air, 60% of oxygen is there and 0.03% of carbon dioxide is present. And in the exhaled air, 16% oxygen is there and 4.4% carbon dioxide percentage is more in exhaled air. So the process of taking in air is called inhalation and the process of giving out carbon dioxide is called exhalation. Inhalation takes place for 2 seconds and exhalation takes place for 3 seconds. And the percentage of oxygen and carbon dioxide differs. So this is a physical process, what we are breathing in. Understand? Now, this breathing in 1 minute. Breathing in 1 minute is called the time. Number of times we breathe in a minute is called the breathing rate. Breathing rate. That means how many times we breathe. So one breath is equal to inhale one time plus exhalation one time makes one breath. What does one breath means? That means one breath is one inhale plus one exhale makes one breath. So the number of times we breathe in a minute is called breathing rate. So this breathing rate is 15 to 18 times per minute. The breathing rate is 15 to 18 times per minute. Understand? For one technique at rest, that means in a normal state. Simply if you are without doing heavy work, if you are in a normal state, means your breathing rate will be 15 to 18 times. After you play, after doing the exercise or some heavy work, your breathing rate will increase. That means you will breathe faster. Because you are doing more work and you need more energy. To make that more energy, you need more oxygen. So that you are inhaling more. At that time, your breathing rate will increase. It may go up to 30 to 45 times per minute. The breathing rate may increase from 15 to 18 is the normal breathing rate at rest. This is increased breath rate that is 30 to 45 times per minute. The breathing rate may increase. So now do you understand what is respiration? In respiration, two types. Process of taking in oxygen to produce more energy inside the cells and giving out the waste product is called respiration. And in that respiration, two steps are there, breathing and cellular respiration. And in breathing, two steps are there, inhalation and exhalation. It is a physical process. But what about this respiration? It takes place inside the cells and it is also a chemical reaction because a lot of enzymes may be necessary to carry out those cellular respiration. So it may be a chemical respiration, chemical process. Understand? In this inhalation takes place for 2 seconds. Exhalation takes place for 3 seconds. While inhaling, the oxygen content will be more. While exhaling, carbon dioxide content will be more. Next, the number of times we breathe in a minute is called breathing rate. What does the breath means? One inhalation plus one exhalation. That means once if you inhale and exhale, that constitutes one breath. And this will be 15 to 18 times per minute in normal state at rest. And it may raise up to 30 to 45 minutes per minute. Understand? And this is about the breathing. Next, we shall come to cellular respiration. So this cellular respiration takes place inside our cells to carry out various metabolic activities and it releases, that means in the cellular respiration energy is released, but in case of breathing energy will not be released. That's just a physical process of inhaling and exhaling. But in this cellular respiration energy will be released. This cellular respiration again, it takes place in two conditions. That is, one is in the presence of oxygen and another one in the absence of oxygen. Already in microorganisms, that chapter we studied about this. That is aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Respiration is of two types, aerobic and anaerobic. Anaerobic means in absence of oxygen. Already you studied, is it not? So the organisms which respire in the absence of oxygen are called anaerobes. Example, yeast, amoeba, some bacteria and all, they will respire in the absence of oxygen. That is, they will not respire in the presence of unavailability of oxygen. As oxygen is not, even though oxygen is not present, they could respire. So, the cellular respiration also takes place in two steps. That is, it is of two types, aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic means in the presence of oxygen. Now let us see about that. From where do we get energy? From the food. The food what we take is in the form of glucose. It is a complex food. That is, this complex food C6H12 O6, that is glucose, or you may call it as starch also. Glucose or starch, and this is glucose. It is converted into carbon dioxide plus water plus energy in presence of oxygen. In presence of oxygen. Understand? What we take in that food is oxidized. That means it reacts with oxygen what we take in while breathing. That oxygen, it reacts, it helps the food to broken down, and this, what is the result? Carbon dioxide plus water plus energy is released. I think all of you know that complex food contains carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Carbohydrates will be converted into simple sugars, proteins into amino acids, fat into fatty acids. This is not we discussed earlier, is it not? So like that the complex food will be converted into simpler food using this oxygen. That is, food is oxidized and it gives out carbon dioxide, water plus energy. This only takes place in case of aerobic. That is, in almost in all organisms, aerobic respiration only will take place. And during this aerobic respiration, more energy will be released. But in case of anaerobic, less energy only will be released. Less energy only will be released. And what happens is alcohol will be produced. In case of the same glucose or starch, it will be converted in the absence of oxygen. What happens? Alcohol, ethyl alcohol plus energy will be produced. Less energy only will be produced. Thus carbon dioxide. In case of absence of oxygen. Another one condition is there, that is that this anaerobic respiration, it takes place in case of unicellular organisms like yeast, some bacteria. For example, in the alimentary canal and all, bacteria are living. In the alimentary canal, no oxygen is present. So in that organisms, that bacteria and all will respire anaerobically, and they will do their functions with the help of the enzymes produced inside. Another one condition is there. In case of absence of oxygen, acids, lactic acid will be produced. For example, sometimes when you are playing or after doing severe exercise or doing very hard work and all, there will be muscle cramp, muscle pain. Muscle cramp means what? You will get a muscle pain in the calf muscles in the leg, below the knee, back side of your leg, that is called calf muscle. The muscle present there below the knee in your leg is called calf muscle. There you will get a severe pain. You will not be able to move. That is called, that flexibility will not be there and you will feel some pain. That is called muscle cramp. So how this muscle cramp occurs? How this comes means in case of anaerobic respiration, that is, the foot will be partially broken down. Completely it will not be, because while doing heavy work or doing exercise and all, you will need more energy. Suddenly the energy cannot be released. Okay, so insufficient of energy. At that time, what will happen is the muscle will start to produce energy. It will start to release energy in muscles. This food is in the absence of oxygen. What happens means it produces lactic acid. Lactic acid plus energy. It produces lactic acid. Because of this secretion or production of that lactic acid in the muscles, we feel that pain, muscle cramp. Okay, how can we get relief from that? If you give a massage with hot water, with a hot bath if you take means blood supply will be increased in that area. And because of that blood circulation, oxygen supply, the cells will get oxygen supply and the energy will be released, and this lactic acid again will be converted into carbon dioxide plus water and we will get relief from that pain. You understand? In case of absence of oxygen or while doing suddenly heavy work, for example, if you when you go for PT, your PT master may ask you to go around the ground 2 or 3 times. If it is a very big ground, if you start running in the earlier starting, you will not feel any difference. But after completing one round, suddenly you will feel some pain in your calf muscle. Then you will not be able to run further after during that second round and all. Because of this production of this lactic acid in the muscles, in the absence of oxygen, you need immediate more energy. So what will do, the muscles do means it will release energy, start to release energy. At that time, the food will not be completely oxidized and the formation of lactic acid will take place in the cells. This lactic acid produced in the muscles causes the pain and that is called as muscle cramp. So you have to sit and relax, you will get relief. Even if you don't get relief from the pain, means if you give a massage with the hot water or if you take a bath with the hot water, means the blood circulation will increase and you will get more oxygen, and this lactic acid what is produced in the muscles will be broken down into again carbon dioxide and water and you will get the relief. Understand? So all these takes place in the case of cellular respiration, that is in presence of oxygen. If respiration takes place means that is called aerobic respiration, and in the absence of oxygen means it is called anaerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration more energy is released, but in the anaerobic respiration less energy is released and also alcohol is produced. Another one, in the absence of oxygen, muscles also start to release energy. At that time you may get the muscle cramp. After having the hot water massage and all, you will get the lactic acid will be converted into carbon dioxide and water and you may get relief from the muscle cramp. Understand? Are you all clear up to this? Okay. Next. Respiration. Next we shall come to. This is a general. Now we saw about the breathing. What is respiration? And the two steps are there. That is breathing and cellular respiration. Breathing is nothing but the physical process, but cellular respiration is a complex process and it takes place inside the cells. It needs energy. That energy we get by using the oxygen what we inhale. Now, in the respiration, two types are there, aerobic and anaerobic. Up to this we saw in now. Next one is respiration in human beings. This is generally in all organisms how the respiration takes place. Now, we shall see respiration in human beings. We also breathe. We are taking in air. Is it not? How do we take air? How do we breathe? With the help of our nose. We inhale the air. So after that, how it travels, how it transports inside. Let us see the air passage. How the air moves from our nostrils to our respiratory organ. So the process of taking in air and using the oxygen, this and all takes place with the help of a system called a respiratory system, that is the respiration in human beings. Separate system is there. There is a respiratory system. Now the passage of air, how the air passes from nostrils to respiratory organ. What is the respiratory organ in human beings? Yeah, lungs. Lungs is the respiratory organ. Where do we present? We present in our chest cavity. A pair of lungs is present. Is it not? Let us see about that. Now, the passage of air. How the air enters our nostrils, from there how it moves. That's a pathway. That is called passage of air. First it enters into the nostrils. It enters into the nostrils. Nostril means nothing but the two holes present in our nose. Through that only the air enters. Is it not? So, here in the nose, two holes are present. Through that holes only the air will enter. From the nostrils, it enters into the nasal cavity. So, in the digestive system, it takes food through our mouth and it enters into the buccal cavity. The space inside the mouth is called buccal cavity, is it not? In the same way, in the respiratory system, the air enters the nostrils, that is through the two holes in our nose. After that, it enters into the nasal cavity. Inside the nostrils, there is some space that is called nasal cavity. From here, the nasal cavity, it moves into the larynx. It moves into the larynx. Then, from larynx, it moves into the trachea. From trachea, it enters into the bronchus. From the bronchus into bronchioles and then alveoli. Understand? Like this, the air from our nose, it enters into the lungs. Now let us see one by one how this air passage is going on in the body. First one is the nostrils. Nostrils is nothing but the two holes through which the air enters. And it enters into the nasal cavity. Inside this small gap is there. This is not space. That is called nasal cavity. And this nasal cavity, it has fine hairs and also mucus is also secreted. And this fine particles called hair and that mucus, what they will do while we inhale air, dust particles will enter. And these will not allow those dust particles to enter. It will filter the air. So there is a function of this nasal cavity. It will filter the air and then it will allow it to enter into the respiratory tract. Next, from the nasal cavity, it enters into the larynx. Larynx is nothing but the voice box. Here, larynx is nothing but the voice box. That means larynx is an elastic connective tissue present in the throat region where the nasal cavity and the windpipe joins. When these elastic tissue vibrates, receive the vibration, it produces the sound. That is why we are able to speak and we can hear the sound because of the vibration of this larynx. That is what there only the sound is produced. And we human beings are the only organisms gifted with that speech. God has given us a gift. What is the difference between animals and us? The speech and the laugh. We are able to speak and laugh. No other organism can do that. So we have to use that in the positive manner. Okay, we have to use that in a proper way. So this larynx is nothing but the voice box where the sound is produced. And it is an elastic connective tissue. It is an elastic connective tissue. It is an elastic connective tissue. After that, from the larynx, it enters into the trachea. Here, after this windpipe, it has many constrictions. And this region is called trachea. And this is larynx. This is windpipe. Already in the digestive system itself, we saw that windpipe and the food pipe are the same. Just a wall only divides the passage, is it not? So it is now in the respiratory system, this is called as windpipe and this is the nostrils. Nostrils. Okay, and this is the trachea. From where that larynx connective tissue, it extends down. And this trachea now it divides into two. It branches into two parts. That is called as bronchus. Singular bronchus, plural bronchi. And this bronchus again will divide into finer branches, and that is called as bronchioles. Then this bronchioles again it will finally it will have many finer branches and it ends in air sacs called alveoli. Now from the trachea it enters into the bronchus. That the trachea will divide into two branches that is called bronchus. This bronchus again it will divide into finer branches. This bronchus it will again further it will divide into many branches called bronchioles, and each bronchiole will end in small air bag-like structures called air sacs. This is called as alveoli. The air sacs is otherwise called as alveoli. And all these branches will end in air sacs called alveoli, where the exchange of gases will take place. Up to this, do you understand? This is the passage of the air, the respiratory tract, how the air enters into the nostrils and how it reaches the lungs. Understand? Here only the lungs is present. Okay, inside the lungs only the bronchioles divide and it ends in the air sacs, alveoli, and the respiration takes place. So this is the passage of the air through which it enters the nostrils and reaches the air sacs. This is the passage of air in the respiratory tract. what is respiration? In respiration, what are the two states? That is inhalation and exhalation. Breathing and cellular respiration, two stages. Then in breathing, two steps, inhalation and exhalation. Then in cellular respiration, two types are there, aerobic and anaerobic. In that several types we saw. Next we came to that respiration in human beings. In human beings, how do we respire? Next, the passage of air. And we saw up to this in this class. In the next class, we will see the rest. Hope you all understand. Thank you, children.